on, the better. We could be talking to people, but let us get started. So today we actually have to record the Chumash too today because I don't have a good recording. I was in the car last year when I recorded it, so I don't know why. Maybe that's why we didn't upload it to the YouTube channel. But anyway, let's get started over here. So we're doing Monday's Tanya, and we're in the middle of a very deep topic. So let me discuss where we're holding in the Tanya, yesterday's Tanya, and then we'll jump in, see where we're holding in today's Tanya. So yesterday we said that, first we spoke about the power of davening over learning, and the first part of this letter, over learning Torah and overdoing mitzvahs. And then we began to discuss the effect of mitzvahs on our world, and how when you do a mitzvah, when you learn Torah, I think we spoke about learning Torah, how that affects our world. So we're continuing to study this idea of mitzvahs, the benefit of mitzvahs, the physical mitzvahs, even over Torah study, and in a way, even over davening. So we said the reason why davening, the way we understood it yesterday, is the reason why davening has uniqueness over mitzvahs is because in davening, you're asking Hashem to change the physical world. You're asking God to literally change the physical world. And that is in a way why it has the greatest impact. That's why davening, because davening, you're asking God to change the physical world, and that's the purpose and the point of bringing Mashiach, is to elevate all the sparks, and that's the uniqueness about davening. However, today we're going to say there's a uniqueness in mitzvahs that there is nowhere else. Today and tomorrow's class is going to tell you the uniqueness of mitzvahs. So here's how I understood it. I'm trying to really understand. It's a very deep letter, but here is how I understand it. Davening changes most of the physical world. What do we daven for? Hashem, heal the sick, bring rain, literally changing the world everywhere, changing things around the world. And if you pray as you should, in the way we explained in yesterday's Tanya, you'll bring about real physical change, and tremendous parts of the physical world will change based on your prayer. So prayer changes the physical world, and therefore it's bringing the coming of Mashiach, because it's elevating the most sparks in touching the physical world. However, when you do a mitzvah, if I understand this correctly, it might not be impacting, in other words, it's you making it holy, unlike prayer, which you're asking Hashem to change the physical world. It's not changing all the physical world, it's bringing godliness to the item that you're doing the mitzvah with. However, although it's not maybe as changing as much of the physical world in the way of prayer changes through Hashem changing the physical world, it is bringing a level of godliness to that mitzvah deeper even than prayer. And within that mitzvah that's being done at the moment you're doing the mitzvah, or to the mitzvah, you're connecting with Hashem in a deeper way than you can connect with Hashem even through prayer or through Torah study. And I'll tell you why. He uses a very simple explanation to tell you why a physical mitzvah can connect with Hashem greater than even Torah and davening, Torah study. You're studying God's will and wisdom. Why is a physical mitzvah greater? And he says that, listen, the bottom line is, no matter how smart you are, and no matter how deep you can climb, no matter how high on the ladder of prayer you can climb to Hashem and think about Hashem's greatness and love Hashem and the greatest love and awe of Hashem, and in Torah study you're going to study and learn about God, I don't care how high you go, you're still infinitely distant from Hashem. You still cannot comprehend God's essence. So the bottom line is, at some point, right, we always learn in our tiny class, there is cause and effect. So which means the cause creates the effect, and the effect knows about the cause and maybe knows him personally. The teacher knows the student knows the teacher. But when we are learning from Hashem, when we're connecting with the essence of godliness, the essence of Hashem, when we're connecting with that essence, at some point, it's just beyond. You can't go past a certain point. You're just limited. You're a creation and you're limited. And therefore, comprehension is nice. All this amazing comprehension that you're having about Hashem is very beautiful and it's very nice. But the fact is, you only could comprehend so much. You're still always going to be infinitely distant from the essence. You'll never know. And a good example he's going to give at the end of today's Tanya is imagine seeing a person from their back. Imagine seeing the back of a person. When you look at the back of a person, you know that there is a person there. You don't know who the person is. You don't know what they look like. You don't see their face. You can't see into them. So you only thing is, you know that they exist, but you don't know anything about them. You know that they're there, but you don't know that they exist. Perhaps we could use this analogy to say the same thing with Hashem. We know that Hashem exists and we know he's the creator, but how do you understand Hashem himself? Do you get him? No, he's infinitely beyond the human mind and capacity. And therefore, you don't get the human mind and capacity of Hashem because he's infinite, he's beyond you. Understand? However, when you do a mitzvah, as we're going to learn in tomorrow's class in Tanya, you take the essence of Hashem at that moment, and we'll learn why in tomorrow's class. But let's start off with today's class of Tanya. And behold, key mitzvahs, when it comes to doing a mitzvah, you have a commandment to do a mitzvah. What kind of mitzvah? It's a mitzvah that no one else could do. Right? A lot of times Hashem sends us mitzvahs that need to get done, and we're the one that can do it, and no one else can do it. Maybe you need to be the one to be a tent for a minyan. Maybe you need to be the one to give somebody tzedakah. Whatever the mitzvah is, all the different mitzvahs that there are. This mitzvah can only be done by you. Now you have an option. This is a discussion, actually. Discussion in Jewish law in the Talmud. You have an option to do the mitzvah or study Torah. What do you do? So if it's a mitzvah that's your mitzvah, no one else can do it. If other people can do it, maybe you should leave it for other people. But if it's a mitzvah that only you can do, and you're middle of Torah study, you get up, you close the Gemara, you stop the Torah study, and you go and do the mitzvah, because the mitzvah that has your name on it, that only you could do, supersedes even Torah study. And I don't care which topic of Torah study you're doing, even if you're studying the story of the chariot, which is the deepest Kabbalistic part. That is the story of Ezekiel, Yecheskel, where he was studying the chariot. He saw the greatest visions of Hashem. Doesn't matter. There's a mitzvah that has your name on it that you need to do, that only you can do it. Close the books. Close the Gemara. I don't care how great you are. The halacha is, the law is, that a mitzvah that can only be done by you needs to be done, and you close the books. I don't care how holy and great it is. And for sure prayer, that if there's a mitzvah versus prayer, and only mitzvah you do the mitzvah and you don't have. And what is prayer? Prayer is the work of the heart. It's intellectual stimulus of the mind, thinking about God's greatness, and to generate the love and fear of Hashem. You're generating in your heart the love and fear of Hashem through meditating on the greatness of Hashem. And what's the reason? What's the reason that mitzvah supersede prayer? And now we need to do a mitzvah. Why is that mitzvah superseding, overriding prayer and Torah, which are so great? You're thinking about the greatness of Hashem. You're learning Hashem's wisdom. Because a mitzvah changes the physical world, and the mitzvah that you're doing right here, right now, you're revealing God's essence in the mitzvah, and therefore nothing supersedes that. That's the mission you were put in this world for, and therefore you need to do the mitzvah. But here's another reason, and another reason which I gave into the introduction to today's class. Not just because you need to elevate the sparks that's in that mitzvah, and therefore you can't leave that. That spark needs to be elevated by you. It has your name written on it. You must elevate it. Because the truth be told, the physical act of mitzvahs are greater. A physical act of a mitzvah is greater than the levels of Torah study and davening you will reach. And the study of mitzvahs is greater than the intellectual stimulus of your emotions to love and fear Hashem. Why? Why is it greater than davening? Why? Davening so holy. I come to the shul, I sit and daven. I'm changing my animalistic tendencies, my animalistic soul. I'm connecting with the creator of the world. I'm connecting with Hashem. Why are physical mitzvahs greater? Because, and the reason he's going to give now is because it doesn't matter. You'll never get closer to Hashem than through doing a mitzvah. I know you're getting very close to Hashem through prayer because you're connecting your body, your heart to God. But you'll never come closer. There's only so far you can go with coming close using your emotions, your logic. You're still a human being. You're still very limited. You'll never come close to Hashem. The physical act of the mitzvah will bring you closer than wherever prayer and learning can bring you. Because although it says in the Torah, it says we should cleave to God. You should connect to God. You should become one to God. It says it in the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter 11, verse 22. And we say, how do you come close to Hashem? Oh, you emulate God. You copy him. God is kind and compassionate. You're kind and compassionate. How else do you come close to God? You should know this method of way of reaching God, of climbing the ladder and coming close to God through emotionally connecting to him, through kindness and so on. You should know that bond and connection by you emulating and copying God's attributes, God's kind, and therefore you're going to be kind, and getting that method of getting close to God through this manner, through this way of copying his style. You should know that's a superficial bond. It's not even an essential bond. Why is that? Because your kindness that exists within you and his and God's kindness that exists within him, they're so far from each other. They're so distant. They're so different than each other. Fine. I know it's called kindness by him and it's called kindness by you, but you think your kindness and Hashem's kindness is the same? You think both kindnesses are equal and really exactly the same as each other? The two kinds of kindness. They're both called kindness. They have the term, the name kindness, but they're not really the same kind of kindness. They're both, you're being kind and he's being kind, but that's right, they have the same name, they're called kindness, but really are they the same to each other? I think Rabbi Friedman explained, as we were learning, maybe this will be in tomorrow's Tanya, I was just looking a little bit ahead, that even within the world of Atzilus, the levels of emotions of kindness and the lower characteristics under it of severity, of strength, endurance, they're also very different from kindness. In other words, as you go down the rung within the levels of the emotions, even with the world of Atzilus, maybe we'll learn more about this tomorrow, it's still very superficial relative to the internal emotions that exist. So we know that Hashem has kindness. We know God's kind because we look around the world and we see all the kindness Hashem does, but do you understand his kindness? You see the back of the person, but you see the back, you know Hashem exists and he's doing kind things to the world, but do you understand his kindness? Do you see his face? Do you see his essence? He brings a famous example that we learned in our class not long ago, when Avraham Avinu was arguing with God and he was trying to save the people of Sodom, and he was very humble. He says, God, I'm earth and I'm dust and ashes. And Rashi said, remember, we said, why did Avraham say to Hashem? He says, God, how am I arguing with you? I'm dust and ashes. In other words, and Rashi said, the simple meaning of Abraham saying I'm dust and ashes is that I should have been burnt in the fire in Ur Kasdim when they threw me and you saved my life. And then when I fought the 4 kings that beat the 5 kings, I should have been dust. I should have been dust and ashes. You keep on saving me. Yet here I am arguing with you, God, trying to debate you and get you to save the city of Sodom. But Chassidus has a deeper meaning to Abraham's message of dust and ashes. He's saying dust and ashes is that Abraham was the greatest epitome of the ultimate character of kindness. Yet Abraham tells God, my kindness, who I'm the greatest kindness, is the most emotional, most powerful level of kindness ever to exist within the world. Relative to your kindness, it's like dust and ashes. I don't want to get into here, but we spoke about that at length in Tanya not too long ago, a little while ago, that when you burn a tree, it takes out it's what remains of the original tree is ashes. It's the same essence of the tree, but it looks totally different than the tree. Once it's burnt, then you only have the ashes of the tree that's there, right? I don't want to go into the whole thing now, but the ashes is the tree, correct? But it's totally different, but it might be the same tree, but it looks totally different. So Abraham says, God, you have kindness and I have kindness, but our kindnesses are nothing alike because I know you have kindness. I see what you do to people, but do I understand your kindness? No, it's completely beyond my comprehension. So this is in regards to the world of Atzilus, that man cannot comprehend the world of Atzilus, the first of the four worlds, the way the power and energy exist, the kindness of Hashem over there. For sure, step up beyond the world of emanation, the first world, the infinite energy of Hashem. The less machshava tfise blei, that no mind can comprehend the infinite. Can a human being understand the infinity? You can understand the infinite energy of Hashem, how it comes out of the essence of God. All we human beings know, we know that He exists. We know, we see a world. God is giving billions of creatures life. We look around the world and we know He exists, right? When you see a watch, you know there's a watchmaker who made the watch. We look around our world and we see there's trees and there's grass and there's animals and there's birds and there's human beings and everything exists from Hashem. Wow, God's amazing. Good. But do you know God Himself, His essence? We know of His existence, but do we understand Him Himself? We know He exists because we see the effect of all His actions, but we do not know His essence. We don't understand Him Himself. And guess what? We're not the only ones who don't understand Him. Even the greatest, highest creations of God, the angels, don't understand Him, which is why we say, and David just asked me about this prayer. David Strumar just asked me, Kadesh, Kadesh, Kadesh. We say, holy, holy, holy. What does the word holy mean? Holy means it's beyond, it's removed, it's higher than me. Like the way you take care of a very holy item, it's something that you can't just play with. You'll treat it with tremendous respect because it's something that you're like, it's beyond, it's above and beyond. We say the angels who are way higher than us, way deeper than us, they look to Hashem and they say, God, you're holy, holy, holy. You're removed, and you're removed from whatever I think you're removed, and you're removed from whatever I think you're removed, that you're removed from. In other words, beyond my understanding. The essence of God is completely and utterly beyond our understanding to grasp the essence of Hashem. The only thing that grasps its creator is when you have ilah va'adl, which we want to call cause and effect. When the cause knows the effect, knows the cause that made it, where it emanated from. But when you get to the level of creator Hashem with the created, they're beyond. It's not like a teacher to a student, a father to a child. You're talking about a bridge that's so far to cross that you know that something exists, but you don't understand it because it's beyond your comprehension. But within the world of Atzilus, maybe, within certain realms, once you're within the world as it's already starting to be contracted and evolve kind of from one to another, they do understand their source. Where it talks about the visages, which is the 10 emotions, how things are created. Once you've gotten within some kind of limited form, they do see how one thing evolves from the other. But not with created. And even they do not see the world of Atzilus. We created beings do not comprehend the world of Atzilus. It's beyond not just do we not know the infinite energy of Hashem, we do not understand the essence. We know it exists, but we don't understand it. The first of the four worlds, the world of emanation, the world of Atzilus. Well, you might ask, why? What about an amazing tzaddik person that has a soul from the world of Atzilus? What if he has a soul from the world of Atzilus? It doesn't help. It's not going to help you. I believe we'll learn more about this in tomorrow's class. It won't help you know that world because that level of your soul is out of reach. Once this part of your soul that's in your body, it's limited. Its created figure can't even understand and comprehend the first of the four worlds, the world of emanation, the world of Atzilus. It cannot comprehend it because it's too far, it's too distant. It knows it exists, like so many things in life, but does not understand it because it's out of our dimension, it's out of our league, it's out of our capability and our ability to be able to comprehend it. Where do we see this as a final, simple, a basic example to understand it? Like it says even by Moses. He says, Hashem says, the furthest you, Moses, will get to see is my back. I started off explaining that example that when you look at someone's back, you know there's a person there. Do you know who the person is? Do you know about the person? Do you know the internal? No, you know there is an existence. But Moshe Rabbeinu, even Moses, who got to the greatest heights of everything, will only know that, understand to the deepest of any creation that Hashem exists and maybe what Hashem accomplishes in the world and what Hashem does, some of the effect Hashem has on the world, but only know the outcome, never knows the essence of Hashem himself and understand God himself. And therefore, to sum it up, no matter how deep your prayer is, you could go to shul and you could get deeper and deeper and more connected. The fact is, you'll never get even to the world of Atzilus, the world of emanation, because you are a finite created being, and you'll know of these worlds that they exist, but you'll never understand them because they're beyond your capability. And through davening, no matter the greatest you'll reach, you will only comprehend limited to what is in your capacity of a created being to comprehend. But when you do a mitzvah, a physical mitzvah, although you might not appreciate it, even you might not see the value of it, the fact is, as we're going to see in tomorrow's Tanya, you connect with the essence of Hashem, and therefore the mitzvah has in it something greater than davening and learning, and that's why if there's a mitzvah that nobody else could do, you have to do it, and you have to put down your Gemara or your whatever you're learning, even if you're learning Kabbalah, the deepest secrets of Torah, the mitzvah overrides that because actually there is a connection in a mitzvah that even is greater than davening and learning. And that is the end of today's class. Any questions?